We are joined by Iowa State student athletes Isaiah Brockington, Tyrese Hunter from Racine St. Catherine, and Gabe Kelscher. Questions for these gentlemen, please.
Gabe and Isaiah, it's Randy Peterson from the Des Moines Register. You guys have played in the Big Ten. You're in the Big 12. What's the difference in the conferences? Both of you.
I would say with the Big 12, it's a lot more up in pace. Big 10 is a lot more big oriented, slower pace. You can see from Wisconsin, they play a little more slow tempo. They don't like as much pressure, I'd say. So I feel like we're going to do a good job with pressuring them and making them very uncomfortable.
Yeah, like Gabe said, they definitely seem to be more deliberate in their actions, running offense, really, just running through certain sets and, playing through the post a lot.
Jesse Temple with The Athletic. This question's also for Gabe and Isaiah. Did either one of you have any hesitation about coming to a place that had won 2 games the year before, even if it was under a different coaching staff? And also, is there a moment since both of you got here when you realized this team could be pretty special?
I wouldn't say there was much hesitation. I mean, there was a chance that I was giving myself. I took a chance and it definitely succeeded. That's like in life. You just got to take chances with it. It definitely succeeded. I met a great group of players and coaches and individuals that I don't take for granted at all.
Yeah, I didn't really have reservations. As far as I was concerned, that was a whole new team. We didn't have the coaches there. We had new coaches, new players, and I was ready to do something special. So, like you said, took a chance.
John Steppe, Cedar Rapids Gazette. For Tyrese, take me back to last night after you hit the 3. LSU calls a timeout, and you head over to the Iowa State section with a lot of your family. What was your message to them?
I just know that was the dagger 3, just to put them away. I'm pretty sure we felt more comfortable after that 3, just get back, don't let them make a shot, and then, the excitement, just in the moment, everybody's out there just having fun out there.
Jay Cohen, Associated Press. For any of you 3 guys, TJ talked about after the game that a big key to your guys' turnaround from last year was that there was an immediate buy-in from the players. Is there something about TJ that you think facilitated that, or what's it about him that allowed you guys to buy in kind of almost immediately from the start?
Let's go Gabe, then Tyrese and Isaiah all for that one. Thank you.
I'll say just like everything was orchestrated and everything had like deliberate point. We had a schedule for workouts like early morning through the summer and through fall and through the rest of the season. So everything was the same and orchestrated. So I just feel like that, just having discipline and orchestration through everything, really just helped us situate us through our whole season.
Yeah, like you said, it was just a straight plan. He gave it to us straightforward, like this is the plan, the goals throughout the whole season, what you want to do, and the work that you got to put in. And like you said, guys bought in 5 a.m. soccer field workouts every morning. We was doing a lot of sacrifices. So, like I said, it was just a plan for us.
Yeah, that was one of the first things that I realized when I came. Even in the summer, everything was really organized. Everything was fully planned out, and he held us all to a high standard. The guys that were new and the guys that were there from the previous years, he let us know, like, this is a whole new era. Like, this is not where you've been before. And he didn't really give us, like, an option. It was kind of like, get with it or get left. So this is how we're going to do it.
Abby Schnabel, Wisconsin State Journal. Tyrese, you'll be matched up against another freshman point guard, Chucky Hepburn, tomorrow. First of all, have you ever played against Chucky? Have you ever met him? And then second of all, what kind of stands out about Chucky Hepburn's game?
First of all, I never, met him or anything. First time hearing about him this season. Heard he's a pretty good player, capable player. But it's 2 freshman point guards going at it. We both leading our teams. We both in the second round right now, and it's going to ever come out there and do the little things to win. So we're gonna go out there and battle.
Pablo Iglesias, WKOW out of Madison. Tyrese, you hit a big shot yesterday, and now the script kind of flips around. It's 2 Wisconsin guys going head to head. Obviously now, even though you're in your home state, I mean, it kind of feels like, do you feel like you're in enemy territory a little bit with tomorrow's matchup? Where are you at with that?
I mean, I honestly, I don't really pay attention to the crowd that much unless I like, get going, get them involved. But I don't really feel like I'm in enemy territory. This is basically my backyard right here. I don't really care if they got thousands and thousands of people out there. That's motivation to me. I might shush the crowd a couple times, if they got that much people out there. But it's all motivation for me.
What's a soccer field workout?
Just got to see it. Just got to see it.
Yeah, it might be. It was probably on our little season documentary, but yeah, a lot of cardio.
A lot of cardio.
Yeah.
Was it any basketball stuff involved in it at all?
Running's in basketball. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, running.
All right.
Hey, Tyrese, Stephen Watson from ABC here in Milwaukee. I know the other day you said your phone was on Do Not Disturb after the thousands of ticket requests that you've received. Is that double now for this second game? And also, when you look up in the crowd, it's going to be a lot of red. But what does that group that's wearing your colors supporting you, that family and friends here in Racine, mean to you?
I mean, like you said, my phone's still on D&D, first of all, but it is. But, I mean, my family means a lot to me. I know they're going to cheer as loud as they can. One of them going to cheer like it's four of them. So, I mean, they're going to cheer, and I'm just going to go out there and do my thing. So they got something to cheer for. So, I mean, it's vice versa for both of us.
Owen Sebring with KGAN. Tyrese, I saw your interview on ESPN this morning, and I think you were saying that your teammates call you Mr. Serious or Serious Face or something
Serious
like that?
face.
Serious Face. Does that match your personality, you feel like, pretty well, or does your facial appearance differ from your real personality?
For the outsiders, that's, y'all see me serious, but these guys know I'm probably the goofiest on the team. I'm still 18, I'm young, so I still got my childish ways.
Mark Freund, WHO 13. Tyrese, a lot's been made about your family and you being from here, but a couple times this week you've name dropped your grandmother. Could you just briefly outline why that is and what she kind of means to you?
She installed who Tyrese is today. She raised me since I was in elementary school, just making me become the man I am, teaching me my ways, from tying my shoes to, my father passed early, so, just to things like riding my bike. So she was always there for me, and I feel like this is my payback, just showing her to, showing the public, showing the media the man that I am today. So I feel like that's my payback for her.
Jay Cohen, AP. For any of you guys, I mean, there's defensive effort, and then there's kind of what you guys do on defense, kind of almost another level. Is there a secret behind that? What is it about you guys that, allows you or gives you so much energy and exerts so much effort on the defensive side?
I would just say we all bought in. I mean, we all bought into the little things. I mean, the coach has done a great job with putting us in the right direction and giving us principles to lock in on defense. But I just say we all bought in and we all care for each other, and we all just take pride in that area of the court.
Yeah, I feel like that was really instilled in the summer. That was the first principle we put in. We put in like our defensive concepts before any offense. We was running scrimmages, and it was a whole lot of defense. We were really frustrating each other.
Jim Polsey from the Wisconsin State Journal, a two-parter for you, Gabe. You and Brad Davison both grew up in the Twin Cities and played against each other for 4 years in the Big Ten. I'm curious how much you played against each other before then and what kind of rivalry that is. And then the second part is Wisconsin was looking for a grad transfer guard in the offseason. I believe there was contact. Can you let us know how serious those talks were?
Yeah, Brad and I have played high school basketball with each other, and we played in the same AAU tournament for Howard Pulley, so we're in a good relationship with each other. I know we played when I was at Minnesota, and he was at Wisconsin. We had a lot of good battles back and forth, so, I mean, it's going to be fun, another battle back and forth with them. But, yeah, I mean, they did reach out to me, but I chose Iowa State, and I'm glad I chose to stay here.
Abby Schnabel, State Journal. Tyrese, I know you said yesterday that you weren't a Wisconsin fan growing up, but was there ever any interest in being a Wisconsin native and playing for the Badgers? And if so, were there any conversations during your recruiting process?
No, ma'am. It really wasn't. Honestly, when I first started playing basketball, I didn't even see myself really getting to this highest level. Not a kid from Racine, get a lot of recognition like that. But I know the dedication and the work I had to put in, and all the blessings came towards me. But Wisconsin was never really in my view.
Gabe, Isaac Trotter, 24/7 Sports. You got a look at Johnny Davis last year, right? Like, did you see this coming from him, this breakout?
No. I mean, last year, he didn't really stand out that much, but yeah, he's broken out this year. So yeah, it's a big jump from him.
Anything else for the student athletes? All right, guys, thank you. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
We'll have TJ Otzelberger momentarily. Questions for Iowa State head coach TJ Otzelberger, please.
TJ, Mark Freund, WHO, in the back here. It's been, 18, 20 some hours since Tyrese kind of did what he did. Any leftover feelings or anything you saw on film that sticks out one day later?
Obviously, it was a terrific performance by Tyrese, his shot-making ability. What stood out to me on film more than anything was his continued body language, how he commanded the game. People talk a lot about how he doesn't look like a freshman out there, and so it's that level of confidence that he carries himself with and everything that continues to have him well prepared for those big moments and those big shots. So that's where I was really proud of him, his effort, his body language, and how he commanded the game. Certainly, made a lot of big shots, none bigger than the one at the end to put us up by 5.
Jesse Temple with The Athletic. TJ, did any part of you consider this might be a rebuild in your first season here, knowing you had to overhaul the roster and this program was coming off a 2-win season? And if not, why? What was your approach to changing things so quickly?
We wanted to immediately instill a work ethic that we knew would withstand the test of time. It was important that we brought in players that were willing to work extremely hard, very low ego, high producing guys. We didn't have a mindset of how many wins we might get this year, or when would it all happen? When would that process lead to winning and having in-game success? Based on how our schedule was set up, as we started to win games early in the year and build momentum, our guys' confidence was growing. They continued to work. We practice every day in the morning. And so we really feel like we're teaching our guys time management, and we're building out their days, and we're very demanding. And as they continued to build confidence in that process, they started to believe, we can win more games and we can win immediately. But it wasn't because we skipped a step. It wasn't because we compromised in any way. It was more that their confidence was growing through the work they were doing, and then all of them doing it together and building that unity. And as that happened, it was like we were a boulder rolling downhill, building that confidence as we went forward. So we never wanted to approach it like it's a rebuild, and we never wanted to approach it like it's a win now. It was more that I have a tremendous sense of pride in this program, and I love Iowa State, and I want us to do really well. And we put a model in place that will withstand the test of time for us to be successful for many years moving forward.
Abby Schnabel, Wisconsin State Journal, right here. There aren't many freshman point guards in Division I basketball that start, but 2 of them, Chucky Hepburn and Tyrese Hunter, will play tomorrow. Can you kind of compare and contrast the two and how they play?
Hepburn's a bigger physical guard, terrific shot maker, guy that can really knock down shots. He's got a physical, imposing presence to his game. Tyrese is more of a dynamic playmaker who is extremely athletic, has great defensive instincts, plays passing lanes. Both do not look like freshmen when they play. They are guys that play with a poise and a command well beyond their years. So, there's not many. We looked early in the year when we saw what we were asking of Tyrese, how realistic is what we're asking of him. And we saw that Hepburn was another that had a pretty formidable role. So credit to both of those guys. You don't take on that role unless you have terrific work habits before you already get to college. It's clear that both of those guys had those.
TJ, Jay Cohen, Associated Press. Before you were out here, the players alluded to early morning workouts on a soccer field after you got started. Can you tell us more about what you had them doing early on, what time of year and what the thought process was? And they kind of credited that as kind of laying the seeds for kind of the work ethic and stuff that's throughout your program.
We had a tremendous sense of urgency when they all got in June. A lot of times in programs, you'll have summer workouts, a couple guys. Within the rules, you get 2 hours a week at that point that you can do workouts with the team. We wanted to take advantage of those opportunities. And then obviously with our strength and conditioning coach, we wanted to make it an aggressive plan right away in the summer so that it set the tone for our whole program. We didn't want to ease into anything. I also, as a coach, wanted to learn about the players who could fight through adversity, who are the guys that were leaders, who already had the built-in work capacity in those situations. So as we started our summer workouts in June, we wanted it to feel like we were getting ready to play right away. Oftentimes, you wait until the fall to start that, and we started it right away. So whether it was, some of the team building things we did or that conditioning that they had mentioned, we just wanted a high level of intensity so they were preparing to win in June and not waiting for September to see what that looked like or to feel that.
TJ, when you do cut-ups with the team after victories, after losses, what do you want them to get out of them? And like I said, after victories and after losses.
Each game, we try to decide what are the things that we can learn from and be better as we move forward, certainly. And then there's also the part where you want to point out the positives and what those look like so they get the visual picture. I think with young people, they're so glued to like their phone and social media that you've got to have, quick hits of what that looks like so they have that imagery and that visual of what it needs to look like. So we really try to teach from the great things that we do in the games and use those examples to move forward. There's also times where, excuse me, my boys. There's also times that you need to take opportunities to learn from things you didn't do as well. So depending on where our team has been at in the year, there's been times we've been at a real high, and maybe that's a time where you can get their attention more teaching things we're not doing well. There's been other times we've needed a confidence boost, and when we've needed that, we've tried to show them the things we do really well. So I think as the season has played out, there's timing, different timing for different situations of how we utilize that information. Yeah, I'd say when we've struggled, I don't think it's a secret, we've had some scoring droughts, whether it's shot making, whether it's untimely turnovers. We're not this fun and guns, space and pace offensive team. And so like when we've struggled, it's usually been, we're not seeing the ball go through the hoop. And those are the times we've really tried to build their confidence, show them what it's looked like, when we've been effective, why we've been effective, what that ball movement and playmaking looks like for our team when we are being successful. And that's what we really tried to teach when we were struggling to get that confidence back going. Thanks. You keep these coming.
What have you seen so far on tape from Johnny Davis?
Yeah, is he good? There may not be a more dynamic scorer in the country, a guy that can score it in transition, score it at all three levels, makes big shots, always aggressive. So what we've seen is he's a heck of a player. We're going to have a lot of attention on guarding him. It's going to be multiple guys. We're not going to be able to just put one guy on him and say, hey, you do the job mano a mano. A lot of respect for him. Came into this program here. I'm very familiar with him from being in the state, and I've seen him play when he's younger, and they've done a terrific job developing him, and obviously he's got tremendous work habits. You don't play to that level if you don't work that hard, both in practice and on your own. So huge credit to him.
Coach, going off of that, too, with the matchup of Johnny versus Tyrese, two guys from Wisconsin playing in Wisconsin for a shot at the Sweet 16. I mean, obviously, I know the game is much bigger than just these two guys, but what is it about that specific matchup that you see come tomorrow?
Well, Tyrese, for us, needs to command the game, needs to manage possessions, needs to pick spots when we want to push it in transition, when we need to execute in the half court. And he needs to set the tone defensively with his ball pressure for us. Davis, for them, is an electric scorer. Does so many, you just have to put so much attention on him that it creates opportunities for others. He's also a very impactful rebounder from the guard position. So their strengths are entirely different, and how they make their team successful is entirely different. obviously, both being here from the state and having this opportunity in front of them is the common ground, and both being really good players as well.
TJ, seems like this site has been the defensive bracket for whatever reason. You guys and LSU and even Wisconsin seems to have played one of their better defensive games last night. Just can you kind of speak to the matchup on the defensive side of the ball and where you kind of see the separation between the two squads?
Wisconsin is for many years, especially under Coach Gard, has been a very stingy defensive team. They're very fundamentally sound. They play with a lot of character and integrity defensively. They help each other out. You can tell they're connected. They don't let you score easy baskets. They get back in transition. They block out. So they're a tough team to score against. For us, we're more of a pressure defensive team, try to generate turnovers, speed our opponents up, and utilize those as opportunities to score in transition. So both methods can be effective. Certainly they've had an identity over time. We're still trying to build ours, but I think both can be effective. It's just two different ways to go about it.
TJ, you've talked about instilling the importance of time management, and your players have credited that as a big part of their success. They said everything's been laid out for them from the start when they got here in the summer. Can you elaborate on what that plan looked like? How did you manage that for them on a daily schedule to get them ready?
We wanted to bring in folks who could educate them about, what their dietary habits need to be. Vic, our trainer, does a great job talking to them about sleep habits and the impact on sleep and how that plays into it. Nutrition, our strength coach, Pete Link, does a phenomenal job educating them on what they need to do to take care of their bodies. We integrate yoga into our process every week and feel like that's something that's really impactful for us. Our guys understand the value of getting in and getting extra shots. I've been fortunate, even at Iowa State, to coach guys that have gone on to play at the next level. And our players ask those questions, and so you can tell the stories and help educate them on, if you want to be like such and such, this is how they work. This is how they handle adversity. This is how they eliminate distractions. So we've tried to spend a lot of time educating them on choices that they make when they're away from us and how that impacts their ability to be successful as student athletes. And then with the hours that we're given, we try to really work with them to be efficient and make sure that we're maximizing the intensity that we go and the time that we are able to work with them.
Abby Schnabel, Wisconsin State Journal. Coach, you mentioned Chucky Hepburn being on your radar pretty early in the season. How long and how closely have you been following him, and how did that help you prepare for tomorrow?
Well, being from the state, there's always a time when you get home at night and after your day, and I'm spending my time with my kids, and you might flip through a game in the background. And, so I've had games on from Wisconsin, and just taking notice of what a great player he was right away. People talked about with the players that, the Badgers lost last year, there's going to be inexperienced guys coming in. And so just a natural curiosity to watch and see, and impressed with how quickly, as the season got going, he stepped into that role. And, remember watching more around Christmas and just seeing, even as I got into conference play, how the poise and command he had as a freshman.
Owen Sebring with KGAN. We've talked a lot about Tyrese doing this in front of a lot of friends and family from Wisconsin, but of course this is your hometown too. And so have you heard from a lot of former friends and family this week? And does getting your first career tournament victory take on a little bit more significance having it happen here in Milwaukee?
Now you said former friends, so are those people who are my enemies now? No, but we've heard from a lot of people. We're very grateful. I take a lot of pride in being from Milwaukee. It's helped shape me who I am. There's been so many coaches, mentors, leaders that I've looked up to that have helped shape my future and provide a life for my family. I'm really grateful. I've heard from a lot of those folks. My best friends are still guys I played with in high school and in college, and AAU team that I played on, and those experiences we shared. It's great to have them be part of it. My high school coach, Coach Ross, came out and saw us play a game in Ames against Texas. We had a win, which is pretty cool. And my college coach at Whitewater, Dave Vandermillen, was here last night, and he'll be here again tomorrow. So to have all these people that you care about, you love, and your family to be part of that experience and opportunity and do it in your home city, it's pretty awesome. Right now, everything's going so fast, so I'm sure I'll appreciate it more as time moves forward. Right now, we feel like we're in the middle of a tornado that keeps spinning, and we got to figure out how to be at our best and get through it. But I'm sure when I look back, I'll really appreciate and enjoy what an awesome opportunity this has been up to this point. Hopefully continues to be.
Billy Witz with the New York Times. TJ, Wisconsin's a little bit different now. They've kind of evolved to where maybe they're a little more, well, more than a little more offensively oriented. But you grew up, just in high school and in college at a time where the program really took a leap. And I'm just wondering what influence, watching them had on you at that age, and just maybe if any of that has sort of stuck with you and been part of your coaching philosophy.
Yeah, Coach Bennett, when he came to Wisconsin, he had a huge impact on me. When I was younger, I'd go to camps at Wisconsin Green Bay when he was a coach there. My high school coach really looked up to him and would take me up to camps there. So he had a big impact. I had a few good friends, Mike Kelly and Andy Kowski, that played on the 2000 Final Four team. So those were guys that I played against in high school in the Metro Conference in Milwaukee, and guys that were friends of mine. So I took a lot of interest and pride in watching the program because Coach Bennett had been somebody I held in such regard as a coach and teacher and leader, and then I had buddies on the team as well. So it really, it was that era that I took note of the program and developed a lot of respect. And I really feel like those guys helped set the tone for the future of Wisconsin basketball because they've been on a heck of a ride for 20-some years now of a lot of sustained success, which says a lot about the integrity and character of their program.
Tyrese sounds like he can be kind of a goofy guy sometimes off the court. What have you seen him away from his time playing basketball?
What's funny is on the court, he's always got a straight face. He takes everything very seriously. All the details are really important to him, and it's almost like you can't break him. And then off the court, he's a jokester. He's always cracking jokes. He's somebody that is fun to. He's just got that upbeat, jovial personality at all times. Off the court, doesn't take himself or anything too seriously. He's got a good way about him. He's fun to be around. Very charismatic young man. I mean, extremely smart, intelligent, but also just has a great sense of humor and really funny.
Coach, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
We will have Wisconsin student athletes in a few moments.
Trade you. I think you need one more holster.
I'm good. I'm good. 3.
Oh, 3 and then the 1, yeah.
there's as you walked in, there's okay. Joined by Wisconsin student athletes Johnny Davis, Brad Davison, and Stephen Crowell. Questions, please.
Nick Osten, 24/7 Sports CBS. For Brad, in your time kind of watching Iowa State, what has really stood out to you so far, especially about the way they play defense?
Yeah, they definitely really pride themselves on the defensive end of the ball with toughness, ball pressure, picking you up kind of right at that half-court line, trying to keep you to one side, trying to force you to the baseline. So we faced a lot of different teams that play a lot of different styles, so we're looking forward to the challenge.
Jim Polsey from the Wisconsin State Journal for Johnny and Brad. How much do you guys think that legacies are kind of cemented this time of the year, if at all?
I think this time of year, March, NCAA tournament's what all the time and hard work is put into. So obviously, you know, every game's important. The Big Ten Conference, the Big Ten tournament, it's all important. But a lot of people remember what you do in the NCAA tournament. And so that's what all the work we've been putting into this year, the years before, they're all built into these moments. So I don't really think a whole lot about legacy, but I know as our team, you know, we want to play as many games as we can together. And the way we look at this time of year is we're fighting for more minutes, and, you know, the outcomes will take care of themselves.
Yeah, I'll worry about the legacy of myself and this team after the season.
Steve McGarvey, Associated Press. For Brad, you've been playing college basketball for quite some time. And just when you look and see what Iowa State's done, 2 wins last year to what they've done this year, just how much does it kind of catch your, I know it's maybe a little easier to rebuild in the transfer portal and stuff like that, but for a team to have that kind of turnaround, how much does it catch your attention?
I think it's very impressive. Obviously, a great job by the coaches and the coaching staff, but also by the players to continue and, you know, to lock in, show up every day, and to turn it around. So I know they've obviously got a lot of great transfers, 2 of them being from our conference last year, so we know them pretty well. So, you know, just as a fan of the game, it's pretty awesome to see and happy for them. But with that being said, also, we're looking forward to taking them on tomorrow.
Johnny, 2 questions for you. One, have you had any previous interactions with Tyrese Hunter being from the state, and whether it's AAU or high school? And also, your ankle coming out of last night, how did it feel?
1, no, I haven't had any interaction with Tyrese Hunter. And 2, it's just a little sore right now, but we'll see how it feels tomorrow.
For Steven, just going back to last night, just first the shot you made to put Wisconsin ahead for good. How did it feel leaving you when you released it? And what kind of confidence does that do for you to hit that kind of shot and that kind of stage early on in this tournament?
Yeah, honestly, it didn't feel that good coming off, but it went in and banked in. I thought the other 2 I shot after that felt a lot better. Obviously, one of them rimmed out, but I think seeing one go in really helped my confidence, and then shooting those next 2 felt really good coming off my hand. They just didn't fall for me.
For any of the 3 of you guys, after that shot fell, it was, I think, 7 minutes without Colgate scoring. You guys played pretty much as perfectly as you'd want to for those 7 minutes. As the tournament goes on, how important is it to not have a good 10 minutes, 7 minutes to close it, but a good 40 the whole way?
Yeah, it takes a full 40, but that's the thing. When you're in the NCAA tournament, you're playing against great teams. Teams are going to go on runs, and it kind of comes down to the team who can throw the last punch and close out the games. And we pride ourselves on the defensive end of the ball. So when Steven hit that shot to take the lead, we knew that the game was in our hands, and that's where we wanted to be, and that's where we find our identity. But obviously, we love a whole 40 minutes, and that's the goal each and every time we go out. But also, we know that teams are going to go on runs, so just having the ability to stay together and be able to counter those with our own punches is crucial, too, moving forward in the tournament.
Billy Witz with the New York Times. Johnny, growing up in Wisconsin, how would you describe just what Wisconsin basketball is, I guess, the identity of it to kids that kind of grow up here?
I'm not gonna lie, growing up, I didn't really watch too much of Wisconsin basketball. I wasn't really a fan, but now that I've been here, it's just, you know, it's a really great program. You know, it's especially the coaching staff and the teammates that I have with me. I'm really happy that I decided to come here.
Does if I can follow up on that, does some of that depend on where you grow up in the state? of what you might, whether it's Marquette or Wisconsin or someplace else outside those two?
It was neither.
In that regard for Johnny, when did you kind of convert to Wisconsin? What was it that at what point did you realize this was a place for you? And what was their sales pitch to you that made you kind of realize this would be an ideal fit for you?
As soon as they offered my brother, I decided to come here because I knew that I was going to play with him no matter where it was.
For any of you guys from watching yesterday's game and also throughout the season, what have you seen from Tyrese Hunter's game? What do you like about the way that he plays?
He's really good in the open floor. His ability to get defensive rebounds and then push in transition. Really good at getting to the rim, finishing over contact and through contact, whether it's going to the right or to the left. Very dynamic in his ability to not only create opportunities for himself at the rim, but also for his teammates. So definitely will be a tough challenge for us tomorrow, but again, we're excited for the challenge.
Steven, going back to the bank shots, that's 3 pretty big bank shots this year by you guys, if you Chucky's and Johnny's too. I'm not going to apologize for those, but do you kind of look at that as maybe there's a little bit of destiny with this team in some regard?
I don't really think so. I think we've been prepared, and I think even without some of those shots, we'd still be in the games and we'd still win the games. So I don't think there's much to do with so-called destiny in those 3 shots.
Just wondering for any of y'all, after the environment you had yesterday, playing in front of this packed house, kind of a sea of red last night, how much motivation is that for you moving forward? The possibility, I know you don't want to look ahead, but the possibility, another game here, then maybe 2 games with a friendly crowd in Chicago as well, that just what could be ahead for you in terms of crowd situation?
You put the answer in the question. We're not worried about playing next weekend at all. We got to focus on Sunday, tomorrow.
Yeah, Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. Brad, I know your goal is ultimately to win the national championship, but how big of a barometer is this next game for the program, given how often Wisconsin teams have gotten to the Sweet 16?
Yeah, most definitely. I think just from this team standpoint, what we're fighting for is just to have 40 more minutes playing with one another. But when you look at it from, a tradition standpoint of the Wisconsin program, that's our standard, is we want to be competing in the second, third weekends of these NCAA tournaments and winning Big Ten championships. So that's been our goal from day one. We've accomplished a lot of our goals throughout the year, and, tomorrow's another opportunity for us to check one of those boxes and keep this ride going.
All right, thanks, guys. Good luck tomorrow night.
Appreciate you guys.
We'll have Greg Gard momentarily. good job or a bad job?
South Carolina? Well, considering the resources they put into the women's program now, I would have to think it's a good job. I would think there's a taste for, I lived there for a bunch of years. I would say there's, a taste for it now that's a little bit different than it used to be.
And you can kind of lay in the shadows of both women's basketball and football.
100%, yeah. Actually, you want to say football, women's hoops, baseball, men's basketball. But if you win there and kind of galvanize that community, I think they're looking for a winner. Football's just ahead, even though they're never a winning program. But culturally, they still kind of stand above everybody else. It's a great job, I think. Great city.
Joined now by Wisconsin head coach Greg Gard. Questions, please.
Coach, Mike Hogan from Badger 24/7. Obviously, two talented freshman point guards going at it tomorrow. You've talked a lot about how Chucky's played beyond his years this year. What do you see in Tyrese?
Yeah, I think a lot of the same thing from the film I've been able to watch over the last, I don't know, it seems like it was just in here, 12 hours, 15 hours. Sees the floor really well, finds guys in the pick and roll, plays well in transition. Obviously, he knocked in threes last night, so he's done a really good job coming in as a freshman and playing that league.
Steve McGargy, Associated Press. I imagine it's a little easier nowadays with the transfer portal to kind of rebuild on the fly, but just from a coaching perspective, what kept your attention when you see a program go from 2 wins one season to where Iowa State is now? I mean, how impressed are you when you see that kind of rapid step?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's players that were there that a previous coach, Steve, had there, and I think they might have went through some injuries too a year ago. But TJ's done a good job. He brought Caleb Grill came with him. Obviously, having Tyrese that Steve had signed stay was important for him, and then having Brockington come in and Condit's been there, so that's helped. But they've got good players, and TJ's done a good job. And I think you have to, when you have a mix, much like we have, we brought in a couple transfers, and you have to mix some freshmen in with your guys that have been there. Having the right chemistry and having like-minded people is important, is as important as anything, because you have to make sure, and sometimes through the transfer portal, especially over the last year, when we couldn't have campus visits, you have to really make sure you're having the right person, because you're just meeting them over Zoom, as I did with both Vogt and Neath. So that chemistry is probably the most important thing, because if it's not right, then it really will go backwards and spiral out of control on you in terms of the togetherness of a locker room. But if you've got the right people in there, a lot of good things can happen.
Jim Polzine from Wisconsin State Journal. Greg, how much do you think a coach should be measured by the results of this time of year?
Well, I mean, from the public standpoint, obviously a focus gets put on March, just because of the attention it gets, and obviously March Madness and the viewership that happens at this time of year. I've always tried to put a premium on the body of work, and that's why we've, one of our first check marks or boxes we want to check during the season is to win the regular season conference championship or chase it as long as we can, because I think that's, over the course of a 3-month period, that's a great testament. And you're seeing all kinds of upsets take place. I want to call them upsets. We don't play series like Major League Baseball and the NBA do. You play one game, and there's so much parity now in college basketball. The 3-point line is such an equalizer that can maybe wash out any size advantage some team may have. And there's so much talent in everywhere. And I think sometimes maybe the marquee schools or the blue blood schools get a lot of the attention, but there's a lot of really good players at other places. And And it doesn't take many. It only takes one or two to make a difference. And if you combine that with some experience and have an older group, then you see what some of the results we've seen over the last 2 days have been.
Isaac Trotter, 24/7 Sports, over here. Hey, you played 3 bigs yesterday at times. You had Ben on the floor, and then you had some vote minutes, and then you also were with wow, why am I blanking on it? Tyler Wall, obviously. You had those 3 guys together. What do you like about those 3 together, and can you use it for moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I basically did that in 2 instances. I had Tyler at the 3, and I think Johnny was resting at one point in time, and I had Johnny at the 2 at another point in time. So, Tyler's done a little bit of that for us throughout the year of sliding over to the 3. I think obviously his versatility at the 4 to be able to do specifically defensively has been a huge attribute for us. But that's something to make. It makes it bigger, there's no doubt. Changes us a little bit offensively, but it's something, again, time and just it's an in-game feel and an in-game need that I wanted to go to, and Tyler did a good job of sliding over there at that time.
Greg, 2 questions for you. Pablo Iglesias from ABC Madison. First, you said you had a late night film session. What was the big thing that stood out to you there? And second, just your thoughts on the Wisconsin matchup between Tyrese and Johnny going head-to-head, 2 guys from the home state.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll have to answer the second part of your question first. I think it's great for the state of Wisconsin. I think the basketball in the state has grown immensely, from the time, I was that age or younger, and how the popularity of the sport, the opportunities that young people have now through grassroots, AAU. The high school coaches do a great job. The grassroots and AAU programs do a great job of giving kids opportunities, and I think that's where you see the popularity and the explosion of the sport over the last 2 or 3 decades. The late night film session, I mean, it was more. I didn't do anything with the team until today, this afternoon. Quickly reviewed last night's edits that I had pulled out, and then went through the Iowa State scout and put that in. And but most of last night for me personally, or into the early morning hours, was spent on Iowa State watching them.
Greg Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. TJ was up here earlier, and he's obviously from the city, from the state. He's paid attention to your program. I'm wondering what it's like from your perspective facing a team from outside your league, but with a coach that clearly knows and has followed Wisconsin and kind of what to expect from there. And what's it like for you to go up against a guy like that?
I never really get into the personal. It's not me against TJ. He's in much better shape than I am. I think he could take me. Okay. Maybe if I got him in a game of horse, I might be able to get a few steps on him. But it's great. I'm happy for him because he's worked his way up. I know he was a coach at Burlington Catholic Central, right? He's been an assistant in a variety of places. Obviously head coach at South Dakota State, did a good job there. Did a good job at UNLV, and then obviously to come back to Iowa State where he was an assistant, he's had to work at it, and he's paid his dues. He's not somebody that was handed, a job or was born right into it. He's had to work his way up. So you have an appreciation for those type of people that have had to put their time in, and various stops and lower levels and those type of things. And like I said, just happy for him. But it won't be Greg against TJ tomorrow. It's going to be, Iowa State and their players against Wisconsin and their players.
Greg, Andrew Wagner, Forbes. Actually got 2 for you. Adam kind of inspired one. I'm pretty sure that TJ was at Thomas More when you were at Platteville with Bo. Did you guys recruit him? And I think he played at Whitewater. So I'm just wondering, what you saw in the guy when you were looking at him as a player and a kid, and if you could kind of see what kind of track he was going on that would lead to this point.
Man, I got a good memory, but I don't know if I can go back that far. That's been a ways. That's been a few years ago. And if he was probably in that part of the state, a lot of good players went to Whitewater. So, we had a few from the Milwaukee area, but, ours were more southwest Wisconsin, a little bit of northern Illinois and eastern Iowa. So it's still a really good league. I would say I know the league very well and follow it. Having my brother Jeff at Platteville, and Obviously, Pat's done a terrific job at Whitewater. So it's, I think, again, going back to what a lot of the root of these questions have been about me or TJ or Tyrese or Johnny, just how great for the state of Wisconsin. You know, I know Whitewater's women are playing in the national championship today, right? Or tonight?
I have to ignore that because I'm an Oshkosh guy, and I'm still bitter to losing to Whitewater last week. So, you know.
Oh, on the women's side?
Yeah, that was a
Okay.
tough one. Dennis too, he knows.
You a Whitewater guy or Oshkosh?
Oshkosh, yeah.
You're an Oshkosh guy too? So we got
Yeah.
Titans and Pioneers hanging up. We got anybody else from the WIC? Jim, where'd you go? Harvard? Lacrosse? Madison. Okay.
All right, my second question, a little
Jeff?
more.
Lacrosse? Oh, the women's team? They lost today? Shoot. But I mean, again, just getting back to, you know, it's great for the state of Wisconsin in all facets. I mean, it's awesome. I know the state tournament's going on right now back in Madison, so great time to be a basketball fan of the state of Wisconsin.
My second question is a little more serious note. You know, obviously there's something that you guys are working for right now, and then there's a big goal in mind. But at the same time, with so many young guys, just how valuable is it having this additional practice time on your season to work with these guys for what's coming next?
Yeah, I think it's been something we've tried to take advantage of all year. And it's the first time really in my career that we've implemented the guys that are redshirting or not playing very minutes get an extremely hard workout on game days. And they haven't done it during the tournament here just because of the time and court access we don't have. But during the season, we've really put those guys through a pretty strenuous individual plan and a group workout that I think has helped us and helped them, because those guys that are kind of waiting in the wings, so to speak, it'll be the next wave of guys coming through our program, have made some pretty monumental jumps through this season, and they got big off seasons in front of them. Hopefully the off season doesn't start for a couple more weeks, but it's all important. Just the exposure to this, you know, being in this and doing an interview, or you know, seeing cameras float around and having an open media practice or an open practice, all these experiences help and can be filed away for use in the future.
Billy Witz with the New York Times. I was wondering if you can maybe go back to the 90s when you were kind of coming up as a young coach, and the things that you talked about, you know, how Wisconsin basketball or basketball in the state has been transformed over that time. What was it about, I guess, was, you know, Dick Bennett with both at Wisconsin Green Bay when they beat Cal, and then, you know, as he went to Wisconsin, what was it about those teams that you think resonated with young athletes, young coaches in the state?
Well, I think there's obviously the TV exposure of that time when Green Bay beat Cal and Jason Kidd, but I think the job that, you know, Coach Bennett did, Coach Ryan did, in terms of the opportunities and the exposure to the game, and through the success of their teams, I think it really opened the doors to this on the state of Wisconsin, or put a light on the state of Wisconsin. You know, even going back to, you know, Dick's time at Stevens Point when they went to Kansas City, or Ken Anderson's time at Eau Claire when they went to Kansas City in the NCAA tournament, and then Bo with the run at Platteville. You know, going in this time of year, typically Platteville was in a Final Four, you know, and getting a lot of media attention for the state. So all those, I think, successes led to more popularity of the state for the sport in the state, and then obviously the camps, the coaches clinics, all those things. I mean, I know Bo was extremely active in the WBCA and on the board of directors, like I've filled his seat now for the state, and you know, just growing the game in the state. You know, Jerry Pettigrew's done a phenomenal job as the executive director over the last, I don't know, it seems like 100 years. Jerry's been and he's done a great job. I mean, basketball has blossomed under his leadership across the state because he cares about the game. And when you have people like that are kind of blazing the trail, so to speak, you can't have anything but positive things happen over the course of time. So I think all of us that are following in those footsteps, all those trendsetters, so to speak, or trailblazers, a huge debt of gratitude for making basketball fun and popular and exciting in the state of Wisconsin.
Greg, you heard Johnny yesterday say the defense turned around when they stopped being lazy and more fundamental. As you get further and further into the tournament, how difficult is it, and how much do you stress, a full 40 minutes of all the fundamentally sound stuff that you need?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it gets any more emphasized now than it did in November, or December, or January. It's just you're playing against better teams, more consistently that can expose some things. And it's not, as I mentioned when Johnny mentioned that last night, I wouldn't say it was lazy. I would say it was not fully executed to the necessary level. And he went over a screen, but he didn't go over it aggressively enough and push his offensive player into Tyler on one of the occasions. Another one, Richardson shot it from the logo. I mean, he backed up and shot it further. So, I think all those things get magnified at this time of year. The margin for error is very, very slim. And if you're a little out of step or have a few miscues, it can obviously cost you. And if it costs you this time of year, you're hanging up the jerseys. So I think those are all good learning experiences that you can learn from that and still have a game to hopefully be better at it next time that you're in that position.
Coach, thank you. Good luck tomorrow night.
All right, thank you.
Again, the schedule for tomorrow, Wisconsin, Iowa State at 5:10, to be followed by Purdue against Texas at about 7:40. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.